Fiumai to another segment of KokoBytes, where we keep your cup of Koko Samoa full and rich with innovations and creativity in American Samoa's tech community. I am Ginger Leigh Porter with my co-host, Michael McDonald. Malo lava, Michael.
Aloha, Ginger. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's nice to see that you've gotten out of your stuffy office and now are parked out in front of, I believe that's Pola Island, right?
Yes.
A beautiful backdrop, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely needed a change of scenery, so this is refreshing.
Yeah, hey, you know what I just noticed? The theme of this KokoBytes episode is the National Park of American Samoa. I didn't realize it, but of course, Pola Island. And where I'm at, I'm up here on Mount Alava, right? Looking down at the harbor. Both sites are part of the National Park of American Samoa, one of the most awesomest, if that's a word, national parks in the U.S. National Park system. So,
yeah, these are the resources, right? Natural resources that American Samoa has, and these are also economic drivers.
absolutely.
Which I'm excited about today's guest, right? Because it's an overarching these resources, whether they are natural or being brought into American Samoa, is something that's foundation for everything that we're trying to do. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm also very excited to have a discussion with our guest, who you'll be introducing here in a minute. But yeah, you're right. The natural resources we have in American Samoa, like our tourism assets, are the cornerstone of building that industry. And as we've discussed many times leading up to this point, the Hawaiki cable is very similar in that it is setting the foundation for the development of a new industry. So why don't we go ahead and introduce our special guest for today.
Yes. So Remi is the founder and CEO of Hawaiki. And we've heard this word so many times, so I'm excited to hear from him. Even just the word itself. But Remi has been a telecom industry veteran for many years, 20 plus years. And then prior to Hawaiki, he created a company called Intelia in 2005. And that's a leading supplier of telecommunication infrastructure networks in the Pacific region. His previous experience includes, senior positions in Vietnam, in Malaysia, in Oceania, in different capacities in those countries, and also in the Pacific Islands. So I'm excited to bring him in. He's a graduate of the tours and business schools, and he holds a bachelor's degree in business. So lots to share with us on our show today.
All right, great.
All right, I'm going to bring him in. Oh, there he goes. Talofa lava Remi.
Talofa Remi.
Hello, everyone. Ginger, Mike, how are you?
Doing
Fine,
great.
Thank you. Yes. How are you?
Oh, well, very fine. Thank you. It's great to see you in Honolulu in Pago Pago. I'm in Singapore right now, and we're having a big rain. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but yeah, it's good to have you here.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining us on our little program. We're excited to have a discussion with you.
Pleasure.
Well, let me jump right into the questions, if I may, Remi. I wanted to ask you to take us back, way back, maybe it's not too far back, to the beginning of the creation of Hawaiki. Can you share your thoughts on when and where this all started and how you got the idea to take on this huge undertaking?
Oh my God, it's a long story, Mike, but let me try to make it short. My background is telecommunication. I used to work for a French company called Alcatel, and Alcatel is one of the 3 largest submarine cable supplier in the world. You've got American Subcom, Japanese NEC, and French Alcatel. So used to work for that French company, and I built a couple of networks. I built a cable from New Caledonia to Sydney, and I built another one from Tahiti to Hawaii. And then I said, there's maybe a need for a trans-Pacific cable. And I realized that the distance between New Zealand and Hawaii and U.S. mainland is pretty long. It's actually 14,000 kilometers. So I said, oh my goodness, how can I fund this? So It took me a while. I've got a fantastic team on board, and after 4 years, we finally reached the funding, and we start building this fantastic cable. And I met a guy in Tahiti, one of very good friend from Tahiti, and I said, I need to find a name for this cable, And the guy said, well, you should call him Hawaiki. Oh my God! I say, yes, that's brilliant. The idea is really to connect people from New Zealand, from the island to Hawaii and to U.S. mainland, so that there will be no more distances between those communities. So we kind of recreate the original Hawaiki island of the Maori people. So here we go. It took about 2 years to build with a US subcom, and Hawaiki came live in June 18.
Right. June 18 of 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was
just a little bit over a year.
Yeah, and there was so much excitement. I do remember this launch. We had participants from all over the place. I wasn't sure I'm trying to recall if that was you coming in from Switzerland. Okay, so
that is correct.
That's funny. So I was on the other side connecting you in Zoom, right? And then you were coming in. So Michael, we were trying to coordinate this. I was like, oh my gosh, where is he at today? Please tell me he's at his computer. And then the time difference was like, okay, 12 hours different, or whatever the time difference was. I was like, okay, he's at his hotel. We're gonna connect them up now.
That's correct.
Yeah, so it's nice to see you again. And all
likewise, pleasure.
Yes. So I heard your response, right? So about the distance, the great distance between New Zealand and Hawaii, or even the U.S. in general, right? And American Samoa is ideally kind of in the middle of all of that, right? So how important was it, or strategically to connect American Samoa to Hawaii?
Well, it's a very important question. Hawaii is crossing basically two regions, Melanesia and Polynesia, right? So it was very important for us to have branches for those two regions. And I received a call from Pule, the CEO of Azteca Makepeace. And Pule called me and said, Remi, would you consider a branching unit to American Samoa? And I said, yeah, of course, why not? So I said, let me come to Pago Pago. And I came to Pago and met with Pule and with Joe Pereira and Governor Lolo. And they talked to me and they showed me their vision. And they say, we need to develop IT in American Samoa. This is very important. We need this for our future generation, but also for the economy of American Samoa. So I was fully convinced, and I said, well, guys, I'm very happy to have a branching unit for you, and I'm going to do my best. And altogether, we did it. So American Samoa has been the first island in the region to be connected to a Hawaii cable. But behind this, there is really a strategy. I really believe that American Samoa should be and will be the hub for the Polynesian region. And I also believe that French territory of New Caledonia is going to be the hub for Melanesia region. So basically we have this huge highway called Hawaii Cable, and then we have potentially two hubs, one in American Samoa, another one in New Caledonia, and I believe American Samoa is a perfectly secure location. So it's great for neighboring island to build cables to Pago Pago and then use the highway of Hawaii cable. So that's really the strategy that we have in mind. And it looks like it's working well, because I don't know if you're aware of that, but French Polynesia, Tahiti, has picked up this strategy as well, and they are going now to use American Samoa to connect USA. That's the first, island nation that have been selecting American Samoa as a hub. So I really believe in this vision. And I'm also impressed by, the vision of your governor and also the work of the Azteca team.
Now that's a great update. We heard that there was a potential opportunity after Hawaiki went live that French Polynesia might be a customer, and so no, that's great to hear. Going back to your comment though about American Samoa becoming a potential hub, it is a great segue into my next question, Remi. Of course, recently, two very important developments have taken place. First, a new alliance was created between Hawaiki, Azteca, and ASH. And second, the Manatua cable, of course, has gone online. And so I guess your conversation was already moving in this direction, but can you speak to how those two things, will play into the future of American Samoa in terms of becoming a potential hub?
Well, you're absolutely right, Mike. So as you know, the French Polynesia plus Cook Island plus Niue plus Samoa, all together, they built the Manatua cable, going from Tahiti to Apia.
Right.
So this network is now live. And it's a great partnership between the Polynesian island. Now from Samoa, there is this short, if I may say, cable linking Apia to Pago Pago. It's called the SAS, Samoa American Samoa cable. So basically Tahiti is very keen to connect American Samoa and then use Hawaii to go up to USA. So this SAS cable is owned by ASH. So it was very important to build an alliance between ASH, Azteca, and Hawaii. And I have to say, it was a perfect opportunity, to work together. And I have to say thank you to, again, the CEO of Azteca, Fala, and also the CEO of ASH, Paul, because all together, we made this alliance and we came to French Polynesia with a single voice, with a single offer. And we did convince the people from Tahiti. They said, this is fantastic, thank you. So only one interface, you're coordinating the whole thing, and it's working well. So partnership between the Polynesian island, I do really believe in this, not only for cables. I'm sorry, I'm just doing a pipe there, but I'm believing in a partnership for education and also for health. So I think that a cable is just a pipe. Yes, thanks to Hawaii, we can have quite unlimited volume of capacity, but we must go further. We must develop not only business, but also better education and better health, because we can do a lot of things with bandwidth, So that's probably what is going on right now, partnership with the island. I think Hawaii has a very important role. Hawaii is the brother, is the natural partner. They've got fantastic university. They've got fantastic hospital and doctors. So I believe the Pacific Island maybe have to rely on Hawaii and build partnership with them. So as you see, it's a very big, environment. It's a very big strategy for the whole region.
Right. And we were speaking to this while we were having a discussion before we brought you on, that Hawaii is a part of that foundation that needed to be built for us to move beyond, just interconnectivity. And really that's the goal of the territorial broadband strategy we're working on here in American Samoa. So thank you very much for commenting to that.
So
Thank you.
You've addressed actually a lot of things that I've been thinking about asking you, you know, from what are the drivers of telecom, so partnerships, you know, all of these things you've addressed already. So, and I'm really glad to hear the continuous partnerships, right? Not just on the platforms and the foundations, but on the applications, because that leads to so many things. And this portion that you spoke about in education is really critical. So I think my final question for you is, you know, this field can be intimidating because it's very technical. It's, you know, you have to have a mind tweaked for it. So what is your advice for young people who want to pursue this as either a vocational or in their education, so that they can be encouraged to do it? You've built so many things throughout your career, the different cables and even just the partnerships and the people that you've met. So it's been exciting. I mean, I'm excited just listening to you talk about it. Yeah. So what's your advice for young people?
You know, I think really this is my vision. I think a revolution is coming. And this revolution is called artificial intelligence. And this will change the whole picture. So yes, remote education, which is just starting now, will be very developed within 10 years. You won't need to travel to Hawaii to have access to the university. The university will come into your room. Right. And the best teachers from Paris, from New York, from London will be physically, I mean, virtually in Pago Pago.
Yes.
I also believe that we will have access to the best doctors from Pago Pago. So might have an MRI, for instance, in Pago Pago, even in Niue. I believe Niue will have an MRI one day with doctors based, radiologists based in Auckland, New Zealand. So this is coming. It's a question of months, years. So I would really encourage the young generation to, you know, work a lot, develop skills. Coding is important. Having ideas, think outside the box. There's many things you can do. You don't have to work in a huge company. You can, by yourself, develop an application that will serve the community. It's going to be smart. It's going to be useful for everyone. So I do believe in this. And the only thing that this generation needs is full access to internet power. So we need to allow super cheap and super fast internet for everyone. Just give them this access, and believe me, they will do it by themselves. They're smart, they're very, you know, they have ideas, but internet in the island is a must. We cannot live without internet anymore. So I think there's many opportunities for this generation, and I think that, you know, for our generation, I mean, Ginger, you're very young, but for my generation, it was, you know, you can work from a tiny island. Was not true, you know. You have to travel, you have to leave your family, you have to go to the big city of Sydney or Auckland. I think this, with this revolution, you will be able to stay on your island. You will be to stay on your island, develop business, and do, I don't know, software development for a company based in Los Angeles. You see, so there's a lot of opportunities, and I would definitely encourage the young generation to try. You know, always keep trying. It's never easy. Don't be afraid to fail, but keep trying and think outside the box. There's so many things to develop.
Thank you. I think that's great. You got me motivated here.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that message. I think that's the sort of message that our young folks and our leaders, either in government or in private sector, that they really should hear from, especially coming from somebody like you who's got credentials and obviously vision about what we can do with this great new fantastic resource. So thank you very much for sharing that with our audience, Remi. Very much appreciated. My pleasure. Talofa. Bye-bye. Thank you.
I thought that was a really, really great interview.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. 100%. I have not met Remi prior to today, and I'd seen some video speeches online, but I didn't know what to expect. And wow, I think his personality speaks well to his vision, if that makes sense. If you have a vision as bold as the vision he shared with us, man, you've got to have somewhat of personality to match. So it was a great interview. That you could certainly feel the energy, and I was happy to finally meet the guy.
Yeah, it's I took away a lot of things too. Mostly the think outside the box type of thing, right? So I think that's what we also need to do with what we have now, this broadband. So think outside the box, stay motivated. And we've heard these before too, right? From a young person, a couple of interviews back that we had with Sunny, and it's the same message. So, over generations, we gotta keep at it, be consistent and stay motivated and think outside the box. I find that kind of encouraging, so that it's trans-Pacific, it's transgenerational too, So.
They're two very important words, but also I think it's transformational. What we've seen now up to this point is only the tip of the iceberg, and what Remi was speaking to, and what many others also speak to as well, is that there is so much more yet to be done, and the sky really is the limit. When he was talking about the interconnectivity, or the connection rather, between the Polynesian people, between Samoans, Tahitians, Maori, Hawaiians, and this now modern connection via the cable system, it also reminded me of something else. We live here in Polynesia, right, in the Great Pacific Ocean, and harkening back to our ancestors, they connected via the super alias, right, the traditional voyaging vessels, and that was their way of staying connected. This cable not only is going to connect us, to the world, but I think, when you think about it, it's going to connect us to our neighbors too. And we have such a rich and pure and great culture here in the South Pacific that, I couldn't help but think about that when he shared that. But again, going back to my comment about it being transformational, the access to this broadband, yeah, the sky is the limit. I agree with Remi when he says that healthcare will be totally transformed. And American Samoa is going to play a pivotal role in that happening. Obviously, Hawaii will be key as well. But I think we're living in a very exciting age here in American Samoa, and it's good to be a little part of it, and I look forward to watching it grow.
There's so much possibility of what we can do moving forward. We're, like you always say, tip of the iceberg, right? So this is the tip of the Mauna right now. That's where we're going. Tip of the Mauna.
One in the back.
Yes. So lots more to see, and where we're going to take Hawaiki and this capability. It's a resource. It's really a resource and tool for us to do so much. So
right.
I look forward to all the developments, and even just the conversations that we're having.
Yeah. No, I want to mention this because somebody out there might be listening, right? And they have an idea, but they don't know what to do with the idea. Reach out to us here on KokoBytes, right? Ginger has a tremendous network of resources, as do we here at the Department of Commerce. And again, that's part of trying to encourage people to think creatively, think outside of the box, be innovative, and like Remi had also said, don't be afraid. Be courageous. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to share an idea that you might think is nuts, but it might actually be that $1 million idea. So we encourage folks, if you're watching and you're listening and you have an idea, or you want to be a part of the discussion, just reach out. It's an email or a Facebook post, away.
The continuation of these conversations with ideas, with innovations, with creativity, that's what we're all about. So join us again in our next episode of KokoBytes, where we will keep these conversations going within not just American Samoa, but now we're regional. So thank you for joining us today. Soifua.